First of all, apologies for the clickbaity title. But the very fact that you clicked on it is the reason why content creators go for titles like this one. The strategies that work are the ones you'll see getting used more and more as time goes on. And coincidentally, that's also why we can't have nice things. Now, I saw quite a few people who took issue with the pricing model for the new Fanatec CSL DD wheelbase. Quick recap if you've spent the last few weeks living under a rock. Fanatec recently announced the CSL DD, a 5Nm direct drive wheelbase, at a price of 350 currencies. Alongside it, they will launch a booster kit, which actually is just a beefier power supply that will increase the available peak torque of the wheelbase to 8 Nm. Obviously, they'll charge you extra for that, and people get upset about it. It's a trick, they say. The product gets artificially restricted to force us to spend even more just to unlock the full potential of the hardware we already bought. So, is this another case of Fanatec milking its customers in the pursuit of profit? First of all, is this a software lock? Well, since the smaller power supply that is shipped in the base configuration is probably going to be a touch too weak for the 8 Nm setting, it's not technically a software lock. However, I would argue that the difference between the two PSUs in terms of production cost won't be very large, maybe in the 5 to 10 euro range, so it's certainly somewhat of an artificial restriction. They could have just increased the price of the base model by 5 or 10 euros, ship it with a beefier PSU, and hide the 8 Nm setting behind a true software lock. From a user's perspective then, whether or not this is a true software lock is very much a distinction without a difference. Now, is a software lock or an artificial feature lock anything unusual? A prominent example is Tesla, who've been shipping all of their models with a complete hardware for their misnamed full self-driving function for a while now, but that hardware will only ever get utilized if you pay an extra $7,000 or $10,000 of cash for a software unlock. Why? Economy at scale makes it more cost-effective to build all cars to the same spec than to engineer and build cars to various different specs. A similar practice is that of selling detuned car engines, where essentially the same engine is being sold in various power settings at different price levels. Next up, we've got any software ever that comes in an affordable entry-level version and a pricier premium version, computer processors with locked cores and other restrictions sold as lower-tier models, and probably a whole lot of other electronic appliances that come in different versions. So artificial restrictions that keep products from delivering their true potential are very much the norm today. In some cases, you can pay extra to unlock that full potential later. In other cases, you can't, and you might never know that you bought an artificially restricted product. Granted, the fact alone that this is a common practice obviously doesn't make it right, so let's compare to some alternative strategies. Consider an alternate world in which Fanatec avoids the quote-unquote software lock by developing two distinct wheelbases, one with slightly lower and one with slightly higher torque output. In this world, Fanatec decides to save money on material by using smaller, lighter parts and cheaper materials in the lower-end model, and beefier, more expensive parts for the higher-end model. Now, they sell you these two models at the same price they do in our world, $350 for the lower-end model and, I'm guessing here, but it's an educated guess, $500 for the higher-end model. You get essentially the same performance you get in our world, except there's no hassle-free upgrade between the two. Actually, scratch that, because of course they won't be selling you these two at 350 and 500 currencies. They had to put in about twice the man-hours and other costs for design, development, prototyping, testing, firmware and driver development, software integration, packaging, documentation, marketing material, and so on. On top of that, they now have to produce them in two separate production lines, and they need to buy or manufacture a much larger number of different parts, but each of them only in half the quantity. They have to develop troubleshoots, service routines, and train their support staff to repair two different products, and keep a larger number of spare parts in the workshop. So in this world, you'll be lucky if you get the lower-end model for, let's say, 420, and the higher-end model for 600 currencies. And of course, you have no upgrade path between them. Consider then another alternate world in which Fanatec avoids the quote-unquote software lock, as well as the increased development costs, by creating two different wheelbases that use the same hardware on the inside, but they make them look different and they give them different names. In this world, those who spend more money on their wheelbase get some bragging rights, but nothing else of much value, and obviously there won't be any upgrade path between the two versions. If you bought the lower-end model and decide you want a bit more power, you now have to sell your wheelbase and buy the higher-end model instead. In this world, the customers are still getting essentially the same hardware shipped in both cases, just with different makeup and without the simple upgrade path. Is the strategy then more fair to the customers? Are they being milked less? Also, did you notice that what I just talked about is actually not an alternate world, but the DD1 and DD2? And as memory serves, people were really happy when they were announced. Nobody cried foul when it was revealed that they had the same motor inside. People were actually excited to get the supposed premium motor of the DD2 at a cheaper price in the DD1 and only had to give up a little bit of torque. Me included, by the way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just fail to see a good logical reason to get angry about the CSL DD pricing model or product strategy. At the same time, I think it's fairly normal and understandable that some of you got, let's say, intuitively upset. Buying a piece of hardware that is openly running below its full potential is somewhat unusual, but really what's unusual here is the open part, the fact that Fanatec doesn't try to hide that the base model comes with an artificial torque cut. Still, once you consider the alternatives, I think the strategy might not seem all that bad anymore. But if a large enough number of people go on the attack here and create lots of negative feedback, against their own interest I might add, then Fanatec might feel it's better to go with one of the alternative strategies again next time. As I said in the beginning, the strategies that work are the ones you'll see getting used more and more as time goes on. And coincidentally, that's why we can't have nice things. So keep your rage in check, and maybe, just maybe, we can have nice things again. Now, do you agree with this assessment, or did I overlook any part of the argument? Are you planning to buy the base model and upgrade it later? Or do you even wish simple upgrade paths like this one were more common in the world of sim racing? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please let YouTube know by giving it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to further support this channel and you're looking to get some shiny new sim racing gear while you're at it, go check out my affiliate links in the description below. It helps a lot and I really appreciate it. And that's gonna be it for this video. Have a good rest of your day, get vaccinated, and I'll see you in the next one.